It's happening. Flash floods, North Atlantic storms, overflowing waterways, flood-prone rivers, small creeks, and even the other F word, which is otherwise known as the #1 hurricane state with the longest coastline in the USA, Florida. And at the exact same time, most citizens are oblivious to actually think that they're high and dry and safe because it happens on the news or it happens to some other person. But the truth is, you already know, where it can rain, it can flood, and flooding happens even in the Las Vegas desert. So this means that millions of Americans all across the country are at risk of flooding and losing everything that they have worked so hard for in a flash. Now, any lender who lends money is going to take this property as collateral, and they're going to care about if this property is in a flood risk or not, even if it's a minuscule risk. And you should too. So every single year, floods happen. They disrupt every single layer of society. Sure, your homeowner's insurance is skyrocketed, but it's probably not going to cover you the cost, the damage, and the debt from a flood. So if your property is at risk for a flood, hey, is your property at risk for a flood? Have you thought about that? If you're even thinking about buying a property, you must know your risk level before you get involved and put that offer in. It can be eye-opening if you learn the truth about what you thought and if you were safe, because most of the population is oblivious to what's really going on. So what has changed? Look, FEMA has introduced Flood Zone Risk 2.0 with new pricing, new flood insurance, and a new risk rating system for its national flood insurance program. It has changed. Now, the prices that each home individually pays rather than buy the flood zone that you're in. Yep, you heard right. It's happening. The system considers things such as how close the property is to any type of water, the height of land underneath that home, the square footage of that home, the cost to rebuild in that area, and how often that street has flooded. Now, we already know that homeowners insurance premiums, particularly in Florida, have been skyrocketing and in some cases doubling and tripling year over year, leaving many homeowners that are forced to make some serious, difficult financial decisions. Now, if anything, is this going to bring down the crazy Florida housing market? Florida really does have a wild insurance crisis that's happening, but no matter where you live in the United States, on a scale of 0 to 100, how do you know if your property's at risk for flooding? Look, I'm going to give you 3 different ways to check that property and not just the area, because as you already know with all of my other videos, I truly want you to avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So give me a thumbs up. Now here's the 3 ways to check. Some are going to be easier than others and some are going to have more details, but I would use all 3 tools. Okay, so the first place that I want to show you is FEMA.gov, and you can type in the address here, and this is a property that I know has is in a flood zone, so I'm typing it in here, and what it does is it'll pull it up on the map, and it takes a while to load, but it's going to show you where that property is and where the flood zone is. Now you can also hit this street view here, so it actually will give you streets, but you can check to see the zones that it's in, where it goes. This is pretty detailed here, but if you really want to get more detail, you can go up here to the image map, and you can download it, or you can go to the dynamic map and download it from there. The second thing that I want you to do is you can go to hazards-FEMA maps. I'm going to put these down in the bottom, but I put in this one Cape Coral because we know this has had a recent flood and it had a hurricane, so these maps are up to date. Now you'll notice these have these little grids, right? So you can pop in on one of these grids here and you can zoom in or out anywhere in the United States and see where things are located and where they're if there are any issues. So let's take this one, and then we go to this panel, and we're gonna, I can't even do it here. There we go. And we're gonna go click on it, and we're gonna see dynamically, it takes a while for it to load again, but it's gonna show us where, there it is, where the flooding is or what its overlays are. Now you can do this for any address here or area. You'll notice that some areas are different colors, okay, and it'll take a while to load, but you can actually visually see what areas they're located in, and you can see when it was updated. So this is very important. This is another thing, is the zone that it's in. Now this is a zone AE, elevation 8, so it's going to actually give you a lot of detailed information here on this page. Now the third resource that you can check out is OBIE Insurance, and you go to the risk map, and I'm going to have this in the bottom, but here again, I'm taking that same property. The nice thing with this is again, you can zoom in, zoom out, and if you check each one of these, some of them are going to give you a lot more details. Now this is, you can check anywhere in the United States also for wildfires, okay, because this is an insurance risk. Where's the nearest fire station? Because this is, again, going to give you a better idea. But also a quake, a wind, or replacement. So if we look out in California, obviously earthquakes would be important, or wind, or even the replacement cost. Now I'm going to tell you something about this. I don't think that this is accurate, because this is showing this brown mark here, all this area, which it says that replacement costs, if that's the case in this color, that are around $150. I'll bet you can't build anything for about $150 a square foot on much, right? So I would check that or double check that as a resource. Now I do want to tell you another thing, that when you're looking at different areas, North Carolina, what are the top areas, has a battered coast. The District of Columbia gets flash floods. Top areas that get flooding. Delaware has a rising sea, they say. Maryland has abundant waterways. And New Jersey has the northeast Atlantic storms. And Arkansas has flowing waterways all over the place. They're overflowing. And Mississippi, hey, we know what Mississippi, it's got a big river. It's pretty flood prone. And Florida is the #1 hurricane state with the longest coastline in the United States. And of course, Louisiana does sit low. And actually, New Orleans is below sea level. So, no matter where you are in the United States, the perfect storm is happening. So to fully cover your home from damage from hurricane, you need 2 types of coverage. That's the flood insurance and a homeowner's insurance policy. So depending on where you live, that homeowner's policy and what it covers, you may need separate wind and hailstorm insurance as well to be fully covered. I know that many people in Florida have commented on my videos about how their homeowners insurance has doubled and tripled. And, what's driving those rates up? Well, there's 3 reasons. We got the extreme weather events and these catastrophes that keep happening, hurricanes, the floods, the droughts, the wildfires. But the United States has had 20 weather events with losses exceeding $1 billion each. So what does that mean? Insurance companies are losing. This is happening, and to rebuild houses, it's costing more money. So if you look at the cost to build a house with one of those things, material goods for a new construction went up 18.6% last year, and lumber and wood went up 6.2% last year, and asphalt roofing materials, they say, is 16.3% last year. And then you need the skilled labor to fix that stuff. So new home and renovation projects may be surging all over the United States, but guess what? The construction industry is facing a skilled labor crunch, right? So if you found any of this stuff helpful in any way, I'm making these videos for you. I hope you enjoy them. Please comment below. Let me know what you thought. And if you've subscribed, there's over 1,100 videos here on this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.